fallen angels, also known as the Watchers, descended into the world, formed unions with women, and imparted knowledge intended to both corrupt and elevate humanity. They instructed men in writing and the use of ink. As a consequence, the Most High declared that humankind had deviated from their true purpose, to remain righteous and pure, akin to the angels in heaven. Enoch 68:9-15. The name of the fourth is Penemu. He discovered to the children of men bitterness and sweetness, and pointed out to them every secret of their wisdom. He taught men to understand writing, and the use of ink and paper. Therefore numerous have been those who have gone astray from every period of the world, even to this day. For men were not born for this, thus with pen and with ink to confirm their faith, since they were not created, except that, like the angels, they might remain righteous and pure. Nor would death, which destroys everything, have affected them. These fallen angels extended their teachings beyond writing, encompassing various aspects of human life. They introduced the crafting of weapons, mirrors, jewelry, painting, beautification of eyebrows, the use of stones, dyes, sorcery, divining of roots, astronomy, and the motion of the moon. This dissemination of knowledge resulted in a profound transformation of the world. Enoch 8:1-9. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, the fabrication of mirrors, and the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments, the use of paint, the beautifying of the eyebrows, the use of stones of every valuable and select kind, and of all sorts of dyes, so that the world became altered. Impiety increased, fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all their ways. Amazarach taught all the sorcerers and dividers of roots. Armas taught the solution of sorcery. Barkiel taught the observers of the stars. Ichabeel taught signs. Tamiel taught astronomy. And Asaradil taught the motion of the moon. And men, being destroyed, cried out, and their voice reached to heaven. Despite the fallen angels' role in disseminating forbidden knowledge, the Most High held them accountable for their actions. However, humans who acquired and practiced some of this wisdom were not subject to divine punishment. Enoch 10:11-12. All the sons of men shall not perish in consequence of every secret, by which the Watchers have destroyed, and which they have taught, their offspring. All the earth has been corrupted by the effects of the teaching of Azazel. To him therefore ascribe the whole crime. The practice of music, polygyny, dwelling in tents, cattle herding, and metal craftsmanship finds its roots in the lineage of Cain, which was considered fallen. Nevertheless, it is crucial to emphasize that these practices were integrated into Yah's divine plan. Genesis 4:19-22. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives, the name of the one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal, he was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal, he was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. It is essential to recognize that Yah, in his wisdom, repurposed that which was originally intended for malevolence, exemplified by the utilization of writing and preserving his divine teachings through the Torah. Exodus 17:14. And the Lord said unto Moses, Write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Precept. Isaiah 30:8. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. Another precept. Jeremiah 30:2. Thus speaketh the Lord God of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. King David, who played the harp, as seen in 1 Samuel 16:23, demonstrates the righteous use of music. 1 Samuel 16:23. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took an harp, and played with his hand, so Saul was refreshed, and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him. Furthermore, we observe divine endorsement of polygyny from the Most High in the description of King David, who had multiple wives and concubines. 2 Samuel 12:8. And I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. The Most High himself is described as having 10 brides in the New Testament. Matthew 25 verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps, and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Yah's commands extend beyond written laws and include tangible practices which are first mentioned from the fallen seed of Cain. For instance, the divine command to dwell in tents during the Feast of Sukkot underscores that this practice carries divine significance. Leviticus 23 verses 42 to 43. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days, all that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths, when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Understanding the distinction between divine commandments and human-made doctrines is paramount. Some practices, while rooted in celestial teachings, should align with explicit commandments from Yah. Personal convictions must not be forced upon others. There are things taught by fallen angels that Yah explicitly disobeyed for men to practice, such as witchcraft. Leviticus 19 verse 31, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Precept. Exodus 22 verse 18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. We are not to contact familiar spirits. Leviticus 20 verse 27. A man also or a woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones, their blood shall be upon them. Precept. Leviticus 20 verse 6. And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people. We are not to foretell the future outside of prophecy from Yah. Deuteronomy 18 verses 20 to 22. But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. We are not to use foul language such as coursing. Sirach 23:12-13. There is a manner of speaking comparable to death. May it never be found in the inheritance of Jacob. Such conduct will be far from the godly, and they will not wallow in sins. Do not accustom your mouth to coarse, foul language, for it involves sinful speech. Precept. Colossians 3 verse 8. But now ye also put off all these, anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Another precept. Ephesians 5 verses 3 to 4. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you, as becometh saints, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Another precept. Colossians 4 verse 6. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. Another precept. Ecclesiasticus 23:15. The man that is accustomed to opprobrious words will never be reformed all the days of his life. When discerning alleged sins, it is critical to consider context. Makeup, for example, is often associated with negative connotations based on specific scriptures, like Jeremiah 4 verse 30 and Ezekiel 23 verse 40. However, a comprehensive examination reveals that the practice should not be isolated. Otherwise, even common actions like bathing and adorning with ornaments would be deemed sinful. In some cases, interpretations may be taken out of context. Jeremiah 4 verse 30. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rauntest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee, they will seek thy life. If one uses this verse to deem makeup as sinful, we have to conclude that it's also a sin to clothe yourself in crimson. Crimson definition. any of several deep purplish reds. By this definition, those who say makeup is sinful are also not allowed to wear clothing containing the colors purple or red. It also says that the people rent their face with painting. Rontis definition. Rent. Participle passive of rend. Torn asunder, split or burst by violence, torn. 1. A fissure, a break or breach made by force, as a rent made in the earth, in a rock or in a garment. 2. A schism, a separation, as a rent in the church. A rent in the face can be a literal cut in the face. Many primitive tribes still do this today. Jeremiah 4 verse 30 would also make it a sin to wear gold. However, man cannot say that jewelry is a sin because the Most High adorned his own bride in jewels. Ezekiel 16 verses 11 to 14. I decked you also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon your hands, and a chain on your neck. And I put a jewel on your forehead, and earrings in your ears, and a beautiful crown upon your head. Thus were you decked with gold and silver, and your raiment was of fine linen, and silk, and broidered work. You did eat fine flour, and honey, and oil, and you were exceeding beautiful, and you prospered into a kingdom. And your renown went forth among the heathen for your beauty, for it was perfect through my comeliness, which I had put upon you, says Adonai Yahweh. In 2 Kings 9 verse 30, Jezebel is often used as an example of an ungodly woman who painted her face. 2 Kings 9 verse 30. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face, and tired her head, and looked out at a window. This passage is describing her actions. It's fair to say that looking out a window would also be sinful if you're using this text to define putting on makeup as a sin. In Ezekiel 23 verse 40, we find the same associations taken out of context. Ezekiel 23 verse 40. And furthermore, that ye have sent for men to come from far, unto whom a messenger was sent, and, lo, they came, for whom thou didst wash thyself, paintedst thy eyes, and deckedst thyself with ornaments. If one were to use this passage to say makeup is sin, you would also need to include bathing and ornaments as sin. This is impossible because Yah commands people to wash themselves with water. It is noteworthy that many aspects of human knowledge have their origins and teachings from fallen angels. As mentioned in Matthew 24 verse 37, Yah tells us that in the end, times will resemble the days of Noah, a period when Nephilim mingled with humans and imparted forbidden knowledge. In the modern world, we find ourselves surrounded by technological advancements whose origins may be traced to fallen angels who are providing mankind with such teachings. However, the morality of their use depends on whether these devices serve virtuous or malevolent purposes. It is essential to distinguish between the virtuous and the malevolent applications of knowledge. A person creating music to praise Yah is vastly different from one using it to endorse sinful behavior. Similarly, a woman using makeup to beautify herself for her husband or to find a husband should not be conflated with one using makeup in a form of practicing witchcraft or other nefarious motives. To label something as a sin, it must be explicitly forbidden by the Most High in His Word. Personal decisions may be made regarding what one finds distasteful, but imposing these views on others as doctrine and sin is erroneous. The Watchers, as described in the book of Enoch or referred to as the Nephilim in Genesis, have existed alongside humanity since the dawn of time. Satan is the god of this world, and the fallen angels who followed him are still figures of renown here on earth, even if they operate in the shadows. Mankind has been altered through their knowledge. However, despite this, the Most High did not punish mankind for the sins of the Watchers. We must exercise discernment as we navigate the use of certain knowledge imparted by the fallen angels. The Most High remains in control and has explicitly outlined in His Torah the practices forbidden for mankind. He also warns that not all things are profitable or expedient. We must assess our motives and how we utilize the forbidden knowledge now prevalent in this world, following the Most High's example of taking the sin of the fallen angels and using it for our benefit. In the final analysis, our path is defined by the choices we make, determining which knowledge we embrace and which we consciously discard. Our guiding light in this discernment should always be Yah's Torah, serving as the unerring benchmark for distinguishing what constitutes sin.